his countrymen that day, Mzee had said, "I want to remind you that we fought for independence to free ourselves from foreign rule. Having done so, we must now liberate our minds and souls from foreign ideas and thoughts." He went on, "I should like you to be vigilant and rededicate yourselves today to building a nation deeply rooted in our own thoughts." That evening, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta attended the state ball organized to celebrate the first decade of Kenya's independence. At the opening ceremony, he was invited to cut the ceremonial cake, baked in the shape of the map of Kenya. Mzee was an old man, but young at heart, ready to take or give a joke. He understood his people. He was dedicated and willing to offer all that he had for the benefit of his people, the Kenyans. Malaika, nakupenda malaika. Malaika, nakupenda malaika. Nami nifanyeje, kijana mwenzio.
In this circumstance of the Lord in Kenya, until that day when you, the resurrection and the life, will raise him up in glory. Oh, blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus Christ, our Mother in heaven, Mother of mercy, we know that it was through you that the Christ of our Lord the first miracle.
In life, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta championed justice and equality. He advocated respect for human dignity and preservation of our culture. His concern for the welfare of all Kenyans was deep and binding. Mzee once said to his countrymen, "Let us agree that we shall never refer to the past. Instead, we should unite in all our utterances and activities so that we can reconstruct our country, Kenya, for the future." In death now, the world has united in paying homage to his memory and his past achievements. His countrymen have come from all corners of Kenya, but now the once cheering and joyous crowd has turned up in deep mourning and sorrow at his passing away. The Kenya government found it befitting that the gardens at Parliament buildings would make the best resting place for such a beloved leader as Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Hence, the decision to build a tomb there. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was a man of integrity. He managed to shape the destiny of this nation almost single-handedly, and at the same time had an impact on the march of history way beyond the confines of this country's borders. He was a man of his people. He greatly loved culture. Mzee once said, "Songs and dances are the roots of national culture, and culture is the foundation of any nation in the world." I quote, "In my visits to the countryside, I find a reawakening of the arts and expressions of our culture. This is a good sign of progress, for the value of the people lies in their culture." Mzee's firm belief in the African traditions was not something that suddenly came to his mind. He grew up with that belief and continued preaching the gospel of keeping that which was best in African traditions. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta is dead. The man who became a legend in his own lifetime has emerged to become an even large figure in death. The outpouring of grief that has followed his death has been unprecedented in modern times. Bill Koinange, the former Minister of State and the late President's right-hand man, had this to say about Mzee.
The previous day, I was to have 2 appointments in Nairobi. He said, now you can go. And then before I go, he was asking Mama Ngena, who is Koinange? Tell him to come and conduct those dances and songs to attend for me. But Mama Ngena told him that you have given Koinange permission to go over there. So that's all right. I called Doctor and asked him, are things all right? All these things are perfect, all right. Do you like to come and stay in State House? Oh yes, it's all right, everything is all right. Then when we heard this shock, it was really unbearable shock that at the bottom of my heart, I can't bear it. At the same time, I feel that there is a time where any person who has rendered a deserving service to his country ought to be giving a time for a peaceful rest. And this is what I think, because in the last, since 1926, when we have been moving together without any thought, without any 15 minutes vacation, day or night, he has brought the country to a true friendly relation with the other countries, and he has awakened Kenya to a contributive mood, so that the question of self-help, Kenya could never say that they have been left alone. It is absolutely true that I personally feel the deepest grief in my heart.
From the huts and villages of Kenya, from the bright lights of the towns, from every corner of this land, people flocked to State House, Nairobi, to pay their last homage to the late president, the leader they loved. As they gathered to see him lead them, so they now gather in large numbers to bid him farewell and to offer their prayers to God for his soul. Among the mourners was the former Vice President, Mr. Oginga Odinga, accompanied by members of his family. Oginga Odinga, the first Kenyan to demand the release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta from detention, wept bitterly at the death of the Kenyan leader. Oginga once said to the colonial masters that without Kenyatta, there would be no independence for Kenya. Now, horror-stricken, he wept openly and prayed to the Lord that the soul of his comrade may rest in eternal peace, and that God should guide Kenyans to follow his example.
Oh my God! Oh my God, my country!
Many leaders from different corners of the world arrived in Kenya to bid farewell to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the late President of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of Kenya's Armed Forces. Among them were the Prime Minister of India, the President of Comoro, President of Pakistan, the Prime Minister of Lesotho, the President of Liberia, the President of Gambia, the President of Tanzania, the President of Zaire, the President of Uganda, Prince Charles of England, President of Zambia, Vice Presidents and high-ranking officials from over 85 countries of the world. The day preceding the burial ceremony, prayers were said in all different churches, temples, mosques, and even homes to the soul of our late beloved President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Mimi ni ufufuko na uzima, asema Bwana.
Nasadiki Mungu moja, muumba mbingu na dunia. Nasadiki Mungu moja, muumba mbingu na dunia. Napo Bwana Yesu Kristo, Bwana wake wa pekee. Nasadiki kwa Mungu Baba. Nasadiki Mungu aliyetuumba. Nasadiki kwa Mwana Mkombozi. Nasadiki Mungu aliyetuumba. Nasadiki na kwa Roho wa uzima. Nasadiki Mungu aliyetuumba. Nasadiki.
At Jamia Mosque, thousands of Muslims gathered and prayed that Mzee's soul should rest in eternal peace.
Allahu Akbar.
Wala hakupenda mambo ya kudharauliana kwa rangi wala kwa kabila, wala hakuwa jeuri kwa mtu yeyote. Mataifa yote
At Dogoto, where Mzee was first taught to read and write, another memorial service attended by the biggest congregation ever to assemble there joined up hands in prayers for the soul of their beloved leader.
ilionekana bora kwamba iweko ibada hii leo papa hapa ambapo mwenyewe alianza masomo yake miaka 69 iliyopita. Mzee aliingia shuleni hapa Kikuyu mwaka wa 1909 kwa sababu alitaka kujua huwaje karatasi ikaweza kusema maneno.
Kila mmoja afikirie taifa hili ili tuendelee kuwa na amani kama ilivyoanzishwa. Baba, tunaomba mambo hayo na tunaamini ya kwamba upamoja nasi, unatusikia sasa. Maombi yetu ni manukato mazuri kufika kwako. O Baba, tunaamini hayo. Hivyo uwe pamoja nasi sote katika ibada hii na wale wote watakaofuatia. Yote yafanyike kwa ajili ya utukufu na jina lako.
In keeping with African tradition, Mzee's body was accompanied back to his home in Gatundu for an overnight stay. Among those who accompanied the body were his bereaved widows, Mama Ngina and Wahu Kenyatta, their children, and scores of relatives.
Gone is the man, but his spirit marches on. Gone is the man we all came to know as Mzee. Gone are the shining bright red eyes we have come to appreciate. Sometimes he seemed very fearful. Gone is the thundering voice of an old man saying, Harambe!
Ewe Raisi Moi, ushike usukani, wewe ndiwe nahodha, Kenya zamepumzika. Kila pembe ya Kenya, sote tu nyuma yako, usiku na mchana, nchi yetu ya Kenya. Ewe Raisi Moi, ushike usukani, wewe ndiwe nahodha, Kenya zamepumzika. Kila pembe ya Kenya, sote tu nyuma yako, usiku na mchana, nchi yetu ya Kenya. Wananchi wa Kenya, Mungu anatupenda, katupa nchi nzuri, maziwa na asali. Tuungane mikono, Kenya iendelee. Wito wake Kenyatta, uko pamoja nasi. Wananchi wa Kenya, Mungu anatupenda, katupa nchi nzuri, maziwa na asali. Tuungane mikono, Kenya iendelee. Wito wake Kenyatta, uko pamoja nasi.
Despite the immense loss they had suffered and the great extent of their grief, Kenyans had gone through great pains to conduct themselves in a calm and orderly manner.
Gone is the familiar word, Dugu Usaidishane. Gone is the smiling face with a goatee. Gone are the steppings of an old man who much younger. Gone is the deep voice of a man who knew the Bible almost all by heart.
Mzee's last journey from State House to his home in Gatundu was a solemn and majestic procession of members of his family, cabinet ministers, high-ranking government officials, and all other Kenyan people. After members of Mzee's family viewed the body for the last time, it was returned to State House, Nairobi, the following morning for final rituals due to him as the late president of this nation.
Tazama mbele yetu, mpendwa amelala, kiongozi mshupavu, raisi mwenye busara.
Ni huzuni, ni kilio, wananchi wanalia, Kenyatta tunalia, huzuni kwa taifa.
Kenya tumetongoza kwa amani na furaha, nchi imeendelea kwa ajili yako wewe.
Ni huzuni, ni kilio, wananchi wanalia, Kenyatta tunalia, huzuni kwa taifa.
Kenya tutakumbuka vita vyetu vya uhuru, raisi ulituongoza, uhuru tukanyakua.
Wananchi wanalia, wananchi wanalia, waheri mzee wetu, Mungu akulaze pema.
Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, who was once accused by colonial masters as a grandson of a witch doctor and Mau Mau terrorist, was arrested and convicted of leading a rebellion. But now, at his death, he has been hailed as the leader of one of the most steady governments in Africa. As Kenyans used to gather to see Mzee lead them, now they have gathered in large numbers to bid him farewell and to offer their prayers to God for his soul. It was a sad moment, as in their hearts they knew that never again Would they ever see or hear their old man call Harambe? The ceremony, which was transmitted live by the Voice of Kenya, was viewed by over 4 million Kenyans and relayed to a number of European and African countries. Cabinet ministers, top civil servants and members of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's family stood by to send him off from State House, Nairobi, on his last journey to his resting place.
Going left, right, left.
The casket containing his body was then placed on a gun carriage, and as it was carried to Parliament buildings, mourning tunes were played all along. Mzee's last journey from State House to Parliament buildings was also a solemn